are back with our annual late night lit session, which for the third year in a row is curated by the incomparable Kelly Harris DeBerry, who you all saw at our keynote last night. She and her husband Jarvis DeBerry did an amazing job and were introduced by the one and only Naomi DeBerry. So we have such a treat in the vein of a poetry reading that really responds to something that happened that year. So in 2018, it was the passing of Aretha Franklin. Last year, it was gentrification in New Orleans. And this year, we have poets, presidents, and pandemics, a reading for these times. I'm going to turn this over to Kelly Harris DeBerry, who will MC this event. Kelly is the author of Freedom Knows My Name, which can be ordered at our virtual bookstore powered by Tubby and Coo's Mid-City Bookshop. And 10% of the proceeds from the sales will actually go back to the festival to support literacy in New Orleans all year round. So, without further ado, Kelly Harris DeBerry.
Good evening. How is everybody doing out there? What a wonderful day too, right? Someone said to me, is this day 4? And I'm like, no, it's really only day 2. We have had some magnificent events and panels and talks today. So I hope that you have enjoyed those. If you can you drop in the comment section where you are watching from? We want to know where you're watching from tonight. And we know that we have poets representing Houston, Detroit, New York, and New Orleans, of course, tonight. And so drop where you're from in the comment section and shout your city out if you are not with us in New Orleans this evening. We want to feel like everybody is a part of this reading. We want to try to make it as homey and cozy as possible. So get your drinks, stir your drinks, get your snacks, and hang out with us tonight. Before we begin, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the passing of a New Orleans icon today, Dr. Dean Millie Charles, who was the founder of the Black Social Work program at Southern University in New Orleans. And she was a pioneer, and I think that she would be in the audience at something like this. She was a pioneer for justice, for taking care of each other, and believing that Black people knew how to take care of themselves. And so I just wanted to speak her name into the space tonight because I really do believe her spirit does embody this reading tonight. So we give thanks for her. Our first reading for our first poet for this evening is Jane Spokenword Grenier, and we are so excited to hear her. She has a special treat for us tonight. I'm going to introduce her with a short bio, and then we're going to bring her on. Jane Spokenword Grenier is a poet of the street. She combines the elements of spoken word, music, sound, rhythm, like the former jazz and beat poets of before. She is intentional about preserving the culture through collective community, through her art. She has authored 2 books of poetry, which you can find more about in the comment section. And she has an array of talent, and her bio is just amazing. And so you can check her out on her website, which they're going to drop in the comment section also. And welcome Jane Spokenword Grenier to our virtual stage.
Hi, thank you for the introduction, Kelly. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. This is my bass player, Albie on bass.
Hey, everybody.
And the pieces that we're going to be doing tonight are videos, and the both of us are on it. So we hope you enjoy it, and you can visit our website for more information anytime. So Candace is going to play the video. There you go. Thank you, Candace. I turned on, tuned in, and dropped out in the 60s. You can call me a freak, but don't call me hippie. Spent the summer of love dropping acid. Protested a war that lasted. Released from the confines of society, sisters and brothers stood collectively for equality and dignity. You know. We demanded an end to war. Hell no, we won't go. We demanded civil rights and equality. We marched for all of humanity. The music of my time spoke truth to power. Grooving to slide, the family took us higher. RESPECT demanded Miss Aretha, Queen of Soul. Eve of destruction, rang dark truths untold. Dylan warned we're only a pawn in their game. By any means necessary, Malcolm X proclaimed. I'm black and I'm proud, testified James Brown as Jimmy cried. Why'd you burn your brother's house down? And as Marvin sang, mercy me, when will it end? John Lennon pleaded, give peace a chance. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Rhyme the greatest of all time, my hero Muhammad Ali. We were a social movement, youth on the rise in a war for equality and respect for all lives. The women's movement defined female objectives. Feminist ideologies demanded equality of sexes. The Latino movement of United Farm Workers Unions improved farmers' pay, working conditions. The Chicano movement of organized students, education, not eradication, brought basic school improvement. The Black Arts movement used art as a weapon. The Black Power movement championed pride and freedom. Angela Davis, Eartha Catwoman, Kit, Nichelle Uhura, and Tommy Smith, John Carlos, Nina Simone, and still idiocracy reigns. If you are other in America, do you do time every day? If you are other in America, is it a squeeze play? Living your life on an everyday beat, always on guard, avoiding white heat. Winter has come to America. We have been trumped. Whitey is lying, stumbling through life, feasting on fox, feeding his white. He's scared you'll take his guns, his God, his whiteness. So he hides his fright in distorted righteousness. Marching with tikis is a frightening aberration. Rivers of blood stain our dawn with damnation. What happens to one happens to us all. Like dominoes, we all will fall. Silence is death. First they came for the Latinos, and I did not speak out because I am not Latino. Then they came for the black folk, and I did not speak out because I am not black. Then they came for the blue eyes, and I did not speak out because I am brown-eyed. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out. Silence is death. There's more. There's one more 2-minute long. Hello.
I will tell you a story of the ancestors and how we came to be. Once upon a time in the dark of night, just at the edge of morning light, the strange ones came, declaring peace was their game, offering gifts to lure us near, promising us no need to fear. It was our innocence that caught us blind, unaware we should fear their kind. It is said they called us animals fundamentally unchangeable. It is said that we were captured, our friends and families fractured. It is said they bought and sold us and even boiled us for breakfast. It is said they put us in cages to observe our different stages of terror. It is said we became warriors. We broke down all their barriers. We sent them back from where they came. We purged their data from our mainframe. And so the lesson is, my sweet young thing, never ever leave our galaxy and never ever trust an earthling.
Looks good.
Yeah. Never ever trust the earthlings. The question is, can we trust ourselves? Can we trust ourselves and each other? Right? Thank you, Jane Spokenword. We
Thank you very
appreciate you.
much.
Thank you for bringing that visual and spoken word. We're seeing more of that now with blending technology and visuals and poetry and music. So there's room for all of it. And so we thank you again. We appreciate that. What a way to start off the reading for tonight. Again, for you all who are watching out there, let us know where you're watching from. We want to know where you're watching from and what you're thinking. And share the video, let other folks know what time it is, and tell them to join and watch us this evening. Our next poet up is Justin Rogers, and he hails from Detroit, Michigan. And I'm wondering if he is a resident of Wayne County and what he may have to say about the election. He is a Black poet, and it's important to say that sometimes you have to carve space for yourself. He is a Black poet, an educator, a coach, an editor. He has poems recently published in the Tinderbox Poetry Journal, Karisma Price. His chapbook is called The Black Matilda, and that was released in 2019. I'm sure he'll drop a way for you to purchase his books. He is also the coordinator for Inside Out's award-winning after-school program in Detroit, and he is also a colleague of mine. Welcome, Justin Rogers, to our virtual stage.
Thank you all for having me. It's fantastic to be here. Detroit is in Wayne County, so I'm proud for everybody who got out and voted and made that happen for the state of Michigan. So thank you for noting that. So I'm going to be reading two poems today, a little bit about me and a little bit about my hometown. So I'm going to hop right on in. This first poem is titled Naming Me. My mother mentions wanting to name me something that sounds like my father, but not a junior. Justin is the sound of my father sifted onto a birth certificate that he dies before he gets to sign. Gino has become so powder, I barely remember he was once whole man. How I look just like him is a conversation about a phantom that precedes me but who haunts my house anyways. There is no memory to rebuild him of. No picture of him begging my mind to mold a false memory. No voice I've known to echo its sons. I know nothing of a father, of a Gino, of mourning. I don't know how to grieve something I never gained but was made to sound like. My mother mentions wanting to name me something that sounds like Gino, or maybe my mother just doesn't know how to grieve either, and Justin was the closest that she could get. That's the first poem, and I wanted to read that thinking about 2020 because my family just introduced a new baby boy to the world who we named after my father, Gino, so I felt like that was relevant for our space. I'm going to move into my second and final poem. This is titled Here. Here, 5 stories into dawning sky. Here in the crusted bucket seat of my cracking car, the catalytic converter stolen, hum. Here is humming over the Detroit skyline. An orange pool of silk atmosphere tainting a burning heap of rusted metal. Here is the world's largest incinerator trying its flames hardest to look like every lip-pierced, purple-haired penthouse developed city it is not. Here is ignoring waves of good hair, pretty eyes with my glasses off, pale skin even in the summer. Here is shopping for hipster clothing. Here are closed family businesses replaced by chain restaurants. Here is giving up meat, a love for coffee and coffee houses and live indie bands. Here is forgetting my neighborhood and being afraid to return there. Here is realizing the blackness ashing over my skin, being too ashamed of my family's Polish immigration to take my grandmother's invitations to return home seriously. Here is going home feeling like starting at square one again. Here is avoiding anecdotes referring to Poland or the Atlantic or what owning a home in this neighborhood used to mean, or how women didn't go to college in the 60s, or how my white grandmother ran away, had a little girl by a black man in San Francisco. Here is never hearing her or that relationship shunned. Here is kielbasa and fried chicken dinner, slavery and Holocaust, Catholic and Christian Jesus calling me. Here is no one knowing his race either. Here is my skin granting me minimum wage temporary jobs. Here is seeking distance. Here is fearing Caucasian communities more than my crime-tainted neighborhood. Here is driving Interstate 94 daily, just to see the world's largest incinerator burn everything except my crack-decayed city. Here is gentrification, hoping I'm mixed enough. Here is not being anything enough. Thank y'all.
Justin, thank you. And congratulations again to you and your wife on your new baby in the house. You know, as things are happening in our world that are just unconscionable, a mentor of mine used to always say, when a baby is born, it is the universe and God giving humanity another chance. And so as we go through this pandemic and as we go through all of these things, we cannot forget about the children and the babies and what world we're going to create and hone for them. So thank you, Justin, for all your work. Thank you, Wayne County, and all the folks that were on the ground trying to push for change and standing tall in the face of a lot of foolishness. We have our next poet that is coming up to the stage. I see Sarah Ray says, thank you. Keep those comments going. If you're watching, we want you to feel a part of us tonight. So drop where you're from. If you're from the D, let us know tonight. Tyehimba Jess is also from Detroit. So we have Detroit representing tonight. And I am just so happy to bring up our next poet, who is also a fellow of mine, I should say. We have 3 Cave Canem fellows representing tonight, myself, Tyehimba Jess, and Karisma Price. And for tonight only, during this reading, because we're about justice and we're about trying to bring more equity, for tonight only during this reading, any donations that are made will be split with Cave Canem, which, if you all don't know who or what Cave Canem is, it is a national, a phenomenal workshop that really helps and trains and builds community for Black writers and writers of color. I was there, I won't say when, that might tell my age a little bit, but Cave Canem is special to me. It is where I met my husband. And another Cave Canem fellow is also the new current Louisiana Poet Laureate, John Warner Smith. So even if you haven't heard of Cave Canem, you have read a fellow's work somewhere at some time in your life. And so we are giving a big shout out to Cave Canem tonight as just something that is very dear to Tyehimba Jess's heart. And so we wanted to make sure that we were doing some work while we were doing poetry. So Karisma Price is up next. I've had a chance to read with her at Tulane University. Was that last year? I can't remember exactly, Karisma, but she holds an MFA from NYU. Her work has appeared in Poetry 4 Ways Review. I believe she just won some cash. Can I borrow $1, Karisma? For one of her poems, the Southampton Review, and a lot of other publications. As I mentioned, she's a fellow of Cave Canem, and she was a finalist for the 2019 Manchester Poetry Prize. She is currently a visiting assistant professor of poetry at Tulane University. So welcome, Karisma Price, to our virtual stage.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I just want to say before I start, it's a really great honor and pleasure to be reading with all of you and my fellow Cave Canem fellows. So I'm from New Orleans, as the bio says. So this first one, if you're watching and you're not from here, we have St. Charles Avenue, where all these giant mansions sort of sit. And every time I pass there, it sort of still reminds me of slavery in a bit. And since we're talking about politics, poetry, pandemic, and president and all that, I feel that this is fitting. It's called I'm Always So Serious. I'm always so serious, which is to say, in the winters, I dream of owning a multi-floored mansion in New Orleans, specifically one on St. Charles Avenue with a wraparound porch and white pillars that would only see the likes of me if I were the maid, the midwife, the family mechanic, Archie Manning, the maintenance worker, or the mailman trusted enough to know the gate's 9-digit passcode and leave the mail resting on the family's rain-weathered mahogany rocking chair. In this particular dream, I'm the mailman. The marigold's red tongues lick the legs of the chair as I leave the mail on one of its non-refurbished lead-painted arms. Their green necks rapidly invade the eggshell-painted porch like any poor soldier in need of his salt. I rip one from the ground for the sake of killing. Look it in its yellow center, a vibrant blister, before I rub it between my knuckles and render it a freshly ground thing. Looking back, this poem was only supposed to be about my sinuses, how even in my dreams I sneeze at the sight of untended weeds, flowers whose mouths unfold under the brazen light of the sun. The nightmare is supposed to be my allergies, how they only allow me to love what blooms from a distance. But in every dream, those vibrant marigolds keep growing. Their vines are thetal tumors that keep stretching crazily onto the porch, keep making the rocking chair nervous at its own home. When I see that rocking chair, I see blood. It rocks like a heartbeat running from whatever is inside that mansion or behind it with a whip. And my last poem, like Kelly, you were saying, this one, a prize in Poetry Magazine. I was really surprised and really grateful to them. So this poem, I have to give thanks to my phone because of autocorrect. The title of this poem is called "My Phone Autocorrects Nigga Tonight." My nights play cousin to their mother's favorite kettles. My nights won't consume their reflections, so they pour milk in their coffee. My nights never rest, so they sing their shadows to sleep. Sometimes they don't remember any words. My nights have frogs stuck in their throats. No light soul, every bit of pain. My nights all Louis Armstrong minus a trumpet, and my nights play chicken with the train. My nights both shoe and polish, both Sambo and Bruce Leroy. We all little pretty medallions on our grandmother's nightstands. My nights are mistaken for other nights that bear no resemblance. I saw the sinew of the oldest knight in the neighborhood on the floor, his Saint pendant missing. All the small, down-feathered knights scatter from the groan of pig sirens. My nights don't know their history. My nights are pecans without the trees that grow them. My nights instruct all the people in their head to weep. My nights hate the firefly cutting their darkness. My night, did you see them? They just walked right past us and didn't even speak. My nights are ordinary, wear ruffled socks, have the best belts. My nights don't always go to church, but my nights are lambs worthy of the morning. My nights are revised constitutions, crypt keepers. My nights are a congregation of alligators on a rumpus bayou. My nights hiss into themselves. No one hears. Their blood rolls its eyes. My nights chew gum in sunflower seeds. My nights eat pork. My nights get the itis and slur their speech. My nights protest protests. The government watches. My nights live in Brazil, Botswana, the Congo, Cuba, DR, France, Grenada, Greece, Honduras, Ireland, Liberia, Lithuania, Nigeria, Venezuela, Zimbabwe. My nights live in America to remind you of me. Some people think my nights are better with their eyes closed, but my nights have beautiful corneas. My nights wash clothes that don't belong to them and won't look their bosses in the eyes. My nights know necessity. My nights oblige. When my nights die, I wash them on my kitchen table. After my nights are washed, I throw away the table. My nights have names. My nights smell of sage. My nights smell of the muddy rivers they will never swim in again. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Where can people read that poem again? So I think there's a format with that poem. Where can people check it out? Charisma?
Yes. If you go to the Poetry Foundation, and type in my name, that should be, it should come up there. And it's, although I'm reading it, it has an interesting shape. So when you go on the website, you have to go down to the PDF version to see it because it sort of looks like a triangle, sort of like that. So if you go to the Poetry Foundation, it'll be right there.
Thank you. Thank you. You are watching Poets, Presidents, and Pandemics, a reading for these times. I don't know about you, but I spent way too much time watching election results and all of those things. And so I'm hoping that our country is moving in the right direction. Please keep the comments coming. We have our next poet for the evening. Oh, I should give a few commercials. Many of the poets and the writers that you have seen or you're hearing now or also tonight have books. And although we're in a pandemic, it is important to support artists, right? Just to not only support us financially, but to keep us going, right, in these hard times. And so if you got some extra cash and, have some more space on your bookshelf in your home, think about purchasing a book. You can go to, they will drop the link in the comment box where you can go our official bookstore for this evening is Tubby and Coos, and that is one of our own New Orleans independent bookstores. So please check them out. Also, if you have missed one of our great panels today, earlier, right before this one, we had Sarah Broom and some other folks. We've had speculative fiction earlier today. We've had some really, really great sessions. And so if you've missed any of those, you can watch the replay on the Facebook page of Words and Music Festival, or you can go to the YouTube channel, One Book, One New Orleans, and you can watch all of those sessions there as well. So keeping it going. Our next poet, and I'm sure he has something to say because he has been personally impacted by some of the things happening in this country. Welcome. Let me introduce him, and I'm sure he's ready to go. He is a poet, a teacher, an activist. He's Lupe Mendez. He's the author of the poetry collection, Why I Am Like Tequila, which was published on Willow Books in 2019. Shout out to Randall Horton over there. Winner of the Texas Institute for the Letters of 2019 for this first book of Poetry Prize. His poetry has appeared in Kenyon Review, Poetry Magazine, and the Gulf Coast. He is currently, he's a co-worker of mine as well for Houston Poets and Writers Literary Outreach Coordinator. Thank you, Poets and Writers, for supporting Words and Music Festival this year with some of our panels. Lupe was recently named the festival coordinator for Sin Muros, Houston's first Latinx theater festival for the 2020-21 theater season. Welcome, Lupe, to our virtual stage.
What's up? Buenas tardes. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for this opportunity. Words and Music Festival. Mil gracias, Kelly and everybody, for putting this together. Again, my name is Lupe Mendez. I have two poems to share with you this evening. One sad, kind of, and the other, hopefully, something hopeful. This first poem is in honor of my mother, who recently passed away due to complications with COVID. And so this is a poem written maybe just a little bit before she fell ill, and her spirit lives on. La Suavecita, a poem before I knew my mother would die of COVID-19. We dress my daughter in amarillo, not butter or sunlight or mirasol, maybe an Easter yellow, maybe a Dia de los Muertos yellow, a baby chick yellow, it doesn't matter. She flickers around the house all barefoot. She takes you by the hand and makes you play La Suavecita on repeat, her hair and brown bouncy pigtails all day. She watches your mouth, the way you say tambores, the way you say cumbia. She won't stop smiling. When she laughs, I hear my mother. I am back in her house, all barefoot, dancing to the same song. My mother dresses in a teal bata, not Miami or peacock or a Tiffany blue, maybe an Easter teal, maybe a Dia de los Muertos teal, a robin egg teal. It doesn't matter. She flitters around the house. She takes me by the hand and teaches me how to spring my arms, how to move my hips, how to follow the beat already in my legs. She tells me, mijo, un día las muchachas will want to spend the night with you on the dance floor. Find those feather feet. Carry a smile and laugh, mijo, laugh. I ask to play the song again and run to rewind the cassette tape all day. My mother is all baila, baila, all brown curls and bobbing hair, abriendo sus brazos the moment I learn how to spin her in our shotgun house. She won't stop smiling. My mother loves the color yellow, sings, flickers around inside my daughter's ooze, the color teal. When they lay eyes on each other, they watch each other's mouths, see just who smiles first. I'm just here then, waiting to see who wants to dance first. Si no te invita, me invita ella. That's the first piece. The second piece is somewhat hopeful. Due to all the things that happen in the world, and this last administration's attempt to continue to separate families, it tries and it keeps failing. And so this is a poem about one of those efforts. This poem goes out to the family of Jose Escobar. He was deported in 2017 and returned in 2019. How candles are made. Epigraph. It was hard for me, but I still kept hope because I knew that my wife was by herself. Jose Escobar, quoted in, quote, Houston area man returns home after sudden deportation in 2017. Houston Public Media, July 2019. The poem. A candle is made of paraffin wax, made of petrol, crude oil, debajo de la tierra, donde viven los difuntos. And when I say los difuntos, I mean we come from seeds. A candle is a spine that holds all our bodies. Our bodies are pools of nothing crude. When we pass on, we're so full on deseo, on want, some kind person crosses our arms for us. To help carry the things we hold on to, we want dreams to warm us in this deep sleep. Our bones are the last to melt away. A vela is made of all of us, bones, a slick dream in the shape of a cylinder, a spine that gets lit. We glare, become light, and sometimes when you look at a vela's tongue on fire, you become lost in the moment. You place everything into a flicker. Time is silent. That's what a wish is. A vela is a line lit on the nights when you are in La Union and she is here in Houston. You are far from each other, and your dreams fit into a wick. It is a slow burn, and sometimes, even when the body breaks, the backbone doesn't. Light up again. When rooms are full of shadows, there's one candle standing until there are two. And in your house, there are finally four standing together, and that glow is up. We watch this in the slender wisp of smoke building in your home. We watch your fingers meet. You are candle skins that spade a yellow touch. You are a burn of molten heart in a single llama, a candelabra that moves across every line in the sand, erasing every border of a room, every baseboard. Tonight, I light a vela for you, but you shine brighter. Together, you are always. Stay together. Mil gracias.
Lupe. Megan, I saw a comment that said tears in my bourbon. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And again, where can we find your book?
You can actually go to aquariuspress.net and order the book from there. You can you go Google my name and plus book, and it'll pop up. You can go to my website, thepoetmendez.org, and it should be there front and center on the start of the front of the page, and it'll send you there.
Thank you. And also we have Justin has a chapbook, and Justin, if you can let us know on the back end how folks can get your chapbook, and Karisma, and also Jane Spokenword. I believe she has some music and some CDs. Thank you all so much for sharing your gifts with us this evening. It really has been a pleasure to listen to you. Again, we want to encourage you all that are watching to purchase books, to donate, to support Words and Music. Before we bring up our special guests, we should also take a time to thank Megan Holt, who is the executive director of this festival, and One Book, One New Orleans, who was a mom, who was also a professor, And I don't know how she's doing it all and holding things up between all her personal duties, but and she has only taken this on really since last year, and we have been partners trying to build this festival up. And so, as she has thanked many people each day, we should all give a big shout out and applause to Megan for all her hard work that she has done to really bring to New Orleans a wide range of talent and writers to the city. And so we thank you, Megan, also for that. And I'm going to bring Megan up. And, you know, if Tyehimba Jess was coming to New Orleans, we would have did it big for him. But we have something just as special in the spirit of New Orleans to bring him on. And Megan's going to do that for us this evening.
So this is not fair, Kelly, because this was the point where I was going to talk about how Kelly Harris DeBerry is a force of nature and a mom and someone who works with poets and writers and a curator and a poet, and I don't know how she holds it all up. So Kelly has been really instrumental in shaping the vision of the festival. Like Kelly said, we really took this on in 2018. Words and Music was founded in 1997 by the Pirate Sally Faulkner Society, and then they turned it over to us. And when they did, we said, we really want to create a space where everyone's voice is valid and everyone's voice is valued. And she's been really instrumental in helping shape the vision of this festival. And another one who in those early moments when I was taking it on and really didn't have any idea of what I was doing, I was kind of putting one foot in front of the other and hoping it worked, was Dr. Jerry Ward. Dr. Ward has been just a presence. I think I met Dr. Ward for the first time in 2016. And when I met Dr. Ward, I just sort of knew I was in the presence of greatness. That's the only way to say it. I know it sounds hokey, but it totally was. And so in 2018, actually, when we were working together to create the first Words and Music that One Book One New Orleans directed, I asked Dr. Ward also if he would be the keynote speaker at the Literacy Alliance of Greater New Orleans Adult Education graduation. For those of you who have never experienced this, it does live on One Book One New Orleans YouTube channel from this year. And basically all of the adults in the city who missed out on their high school graduation because they had to leave school for whatever reason, once they pass that HiSET, the high school equivalency test, it's formerly the GED, they wear a cap and gown at this event and they walk across the stage and their family and friends cheer. And Dr. Ward was our keynote. So I asked Dr. Ward for a bio so I could introduce Dr. Ward. And I get this bio and it's like 3 pages. So I'm looking at this. Can I talk about Dr. Ward's career teaching at Tougaloo College for all those years? Do I talk about Dr. Ward's work on Richard Wright? Do I talk about his work on James Baldwin? Do I talk about the fact that after he retired, what does Dr. Ward do? He goes and he teaches literacy in prisons. That's what Dr. Ward does. So what am I going to say about him? So I called Dr. Ward and I said, hey, can you give me some guidance? How can I introduce you best? And Dr. Ward says, Megan, just introduce me as a guy who lives in New Orleans. They can look up the rest. So without further ado, to bring on our key speaker, I'd like to welcome a guy who lives in New Orleans, Dr. Jerry Ward.
Thank you so much. I have had a moment since I noticed that 2 of the people have Detroit as a hometown, in which I have been instructed by one of our icons who has transitioned recently, Naomi Long Magic, to send her blessings to them. And also, we have to remember her just as we remember Millie Charles. It's really a very special honor for me to introduce our special guest, who is a writer, who has a special talent, or special talents, I should say. He knows words in music, he knows words in sculpture, he knows words and mathematics. And I have dared to surmise that his mind is a cultural archive. He won the 2004 National Poetry Series Award for his collection, Lead Belly, and the 2017 Pulitzer Prize for his second book, Olio. Prizes do matter. What matters with the extreme urgency of Black Lives Matter is that this poet has assumed a very special burden and calling, namely the transformation of his
All right, Dr. Ward might be having a few technical difficulties at the moment. So I think that if he comes back on, maybe we'll bring him back. If not, let's go ahead and turn it over to Kelly, who I think is more qualified than I am to introduce our featured poet for the evening.
Well, I cannot follow Dr. Ward and what he was saying about Tyehimba Jess. And I'm hoping that we can get him back, and let's.
Okay, I'm back, Kelly.
Okay.
There's some kind of crisis. But anyway, as I was saying, our special guest really absorbed one of his mentors, my friend Sterling Plump, communicated about excavating the ethos of the blues and jazz. That is, recycling music in different forms. So this use of heritage is a very heavy project. Our guest, who teaches at the College of Staten Island, which is part of CUNY, has a wonderful sense of humor, but he does not, and this is very important, ever confuse trivia with knowledge. His writing makes us really work to earn our own badges of integrity. I learned that when I met him a few years ago at an NEH seminar at the University of Kansas. So it is an extreme honor for me to introduce Tyehimba Jess.
Hello, Dr. Ward.
Yes.
Wow, it's thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I think that technology glitch was just another way of saying, just say he's another brother from the D.
Okay.
But I deeply appreciate being in the same venue as you and all these other fantastic poets who have been such a, I've been so enlightened by all the poems that have been shared here today, and all the music and all the energy. And I only wish I could have made it to New Orleans a city so full of our history. I'm in New York right now, but New Orleans was New York before New York was New York. And it's where so much of our heritage flows from, and so much of our musical and cultural sensibility. So I'm really glad to be here. So I guess I'll just share a few poems right quick. I this first poem is a way of introduction, and in New York, they say what's good. And when I was coming up in New York, I mean in Detroit, they'd say, what it be like, or in different parts of the country they say different things. But my aunt used to say, what you know good. So this is entitled What You Know Good. Raise your hand if you heard that one before. What you know good. It's true. I ain't no good, but I do know better. I know the Detroit summers, furnace in fury, the Chi-Town winter hawk beat down. I know the Brooklyn-born treetops in spring. Their slow spun good of shadow I lean into. I know that ain't no good deed gone unbeloved by somebody got no sense. I got the good gospel of blues beneath my skin, and I know I got it good when I kneel before my baby's good thing. When I'm drowning in her silt salt goodness, greedy enough to squint the good hot air smothering our goddams. I know I got it bad, about as good as it gon' get till I'm good and gone. The good foot slide stepping me on out this plane. Been told I ain't nobody's good man, cause I got a good mind to get good heavens with good weed that gets me golden smoky. What I know good? I know that you know that they know that we know that don't nobody got the goods or warrants on me, as good as I can tell. See, you got the good hand, baby. I just barely got me this good credit. Just got this good job. I was trying to get a good look out of this poem, trying to keep it out the mouths of the good old boys perched like Confederate statues on gilded plinths of God bless Americas. I was trying to keep head above good times, writhing the good fight, fried as good hair and twisted as good intentions. What I know good starts with a brick and ends with a book and bleeds in between. It walks through the screen door of promise with chisel sharp fine print tunneled deep in its smile. What I know good is, like I said, I ain't no good, but goodness, don't I get a chance to make it all good before the bullet gets out the gun, or the knee hits the neck, or the noose gets hung, or the bail gets set? You know good and well what the answer is. What I know good is what I left behind, and good God, what never leaves me, history. What I know good will always be enough to bury me. But here I am, good enough, ain't I, to rise up and tell you all I know. So that's what you know good. That's a good greeting to start off a poetry reading. What you know good. And this next poem is this next poem is dedicated. It comes out of the recent news. The recent news of a this news story came out, and it just stuck in my head, and I think you'll get the context from the epigraphs. The title of the poem is Blood Moon. And I think we remember Don Wooten, the ICE whistleblower, who disclosed the fact of these illegal and inappropriate hysterectomies that were occurring under ICE supervision. So, the first epigraph is from Don Wooten herself, everybody he sees has a hysterectomy, just about everybody. And the second epigraph is from the testimony from Project South subjects who are prisoners of ICE. This was like an experimental concentration camp. It was like they're experimenting with our bodies. Blood moon. The hysterectomized uteruses of the women held in ICE captivity cried softly in their garbage bags, huddled, bloody, and severed. They had only each other to cling to in the medical waste dump. They shared their stories of birthing, of menstruous moons. They held each other, holed in the darkness of human debris, and knew in a way that can only be known in the workshop of the womb, the story of all their past and all their mothers' past back to the beginning. The bone, muscle, tendon, and hair wisps of what had grown to be human. They saw their almost futures, and then they saw the certain future of the incinerator that awaited them, that had awaited wombs of Mississippi, North Carolina, Puerto Rico, and Indian health services. They knew the sterilizing fire that awaited them to scorch possibility away, and they wailed in a way only the burning future can wail. And when they heard themselves and bled their wails together, they did what they were born to do, to rise beyond their would-be bone and skin and muscle. They rise together from America's incarceration, unfurling from beneath hypodermics and gauze, piercing through plastic tubing and shit-stained tissue, rising beyond razor wire, concrete blocks, and security cameras. They cross every border to wail alongside uterine ghosts from Georgia to Auschwitz, the way the light of every moon smuggles through checkpoints without passport or ID, carrying only its own shine on its back, doing the work we mostly close our eyes to. And when the harvest moon waxes to remind us how we've eaten from the hands of those blood-bound to the garbage dump, we pray and eat our fill. And when the blood moon rises to remind us of what we've allowed in the name of borders, who will pray for us? Who will hear us when we wail? This next poem is going to be poem is going to be dedicated to all the brothers in particular, all the men who find themselves about to lose their temper, about to lose their true sense of their humanity, about to slip, about to lose control, and about to commit physical violence in their intimate relationships. And I guess really this is the first time I've read this poem out loud, but I think that it's an important part of the conversation to go into the mind of or think about the idea of men interrupting their cycle of violence in relationships. So this is entitled Blood of My Blood. Walk away. My father, where would we be now if you had just walked away? Those times your fists grew tight and your father's blood screamed inside your skull for the crash of knuckle against my mother's skull? Where would we be if you had turned your back to whatever hot words boiled from my mother's mouth, from whatever insult you heard or saw in whatever slight or terrible gesture? All I know is the stitches burned across her scalp, of deadly household silence, its ocean of unsaid seething in a hidden, bloodied mouth. I know the way I've prayed that my hands would never swing the weight of our fists across my lover's face. My father, I'd wish you the patience of both hands at your side, of arms folded in front of you. I'd wish you the counting to 10 or 20 or 100. I'd wish you both hands up in surrender, or behind your head, or behind your back, or buried in your pockets, or blocking her fists or slaps as you back away. I'd wish you a swift retreat when you felt your father's fist rising against my mother's anger. I'd wish you a clear path to the door when you felt the world's whip on your back in her tongue in the heat of your marriage. I'd wish you a walk around the block, a fast car to squeal through streetlights, a long bus ride into the afternoon, a taxi waiting at the curbside, a bike to ride furious into night, or just your slam of a door behind you instead of the slam of your fists into flesh. I wish you one friend to call, or 2, or 20, begging you to stand down, to remember what a man can lose with the stroke of one blow. Love, respect, wife, children, family, career, freedom. Freedom from the label woman beater. I'd wish you the words to say, I'm leaving now, before I lose it. I'd wish you the knowing when you were about to lose it. I'd wish you shelter to find yourself before coming back home with outrage. My father, I'd wish you almost anything else in the world than me standing over you years later, feeling my father's blood surging in my fist. But here we are, blood of my blood. And the only gift I can give you is that I've run from your blood in my blood when my anger rose. I've tried to kill the parts of you that took me so close to killing. My father, where would we be now if you had just walked away? What if I weren't scrambling through the years, through the rubble, to stitch together the shreds of what I wish I'd been able to tell you? I love you. Now, I'm walking away. So, this next one, I think that my very first book, I wouldn't feel right if I came all the way to New Orleans and I didn't share a book about Lead Belly. This is the very first, my first book. And here you go. You can order it on the bookstore. And this is a real odyssey for me. I feel like I owe a lot to the state of Louisiana, because it was there that I had to venture in order to visit Lead Belly's grave outside of Shreveport. I had to do all kinds of research, and I spent all kinds of time just going into the life of Lead Belly in order to try and understand him and where he was coming from. So I think I would like to share this. This is the first poem in the book, and it's based off of a real event that happened with Hoodie Ledbetter. If you don't know, for those who don't know who Leadbelly was, he was the king of the 12-string guitar. He lived from around 1880, mid 1880s until he died in 1949. He knew about 500 songs off the top of his head. He was a folk singer, a blues singer, a mighty presence in the cornerstone of American folk music. So he's a real critical part of the way that America sounds. And this poem is entitled Leadbelly's Lessons. It's based off of a story that I kind of stumbled across in his biography. So, Leadbelly's Lessons. Mr. Haney owned Shreveport's general store, where $1 a week bought my 12-year-old frames lift and lunge of barrel and crate across a sawdust floor. Still, he wanted more. See, the guitar refused to get naked with Haney. He would fumble up the seams of its hidden croon, hook, clasp, and bodice of each tune mangled down to a stunted strum. So he quit. He'd hoist bourbon and order me to hoist song, the velvet locomotive of marrow deep hum I tote up from the swollen center of guitar. Its catch and slide caught between palms and cradle crossed Louisiana starlight. His bottle and scowl grew louder with each reel and jump that I played while getting paid to show the way of undressing music from its wooden clothes. But it was like coaxing stone to bathe in sky. He never let his flesh wallow in the blue floating round his earth. So he buried himself deeper in his own dirt. He'd think on the hurt a white man can do without second thought. He'd slur, nigga, someday I'm gonna kill you, and stagger home. It was there, alone, in the dark darkness of me, that I first learned the ways of pure white envy. And thank you, Mr. Haney, for teaching me. That's Leadbelly. And the next poem, Candace, our wonderful engineer, is going to bring up some poems from or image from this book, Olio. It's my second book, came out, I don't know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. And I'd like to share a brief snippet from the saga of these two young ladies, the McCoy twins. The McCoy twins were born in I want to say in 1850, around 1859 or so. No, I'm sorry, 1849, and they were Pygopagus twins. They were that. What that means is, if you look at the picture again, you'll see that they are standing back to back, but they're not just standing back to back. They're joined physically through the trunk of their body all the way through the hips, through the torso, through the hips. And they ended up being the longest living set of Pygopagus twins. And they had an amazing career as and thank you, as there you can see how they're kind of joined. They're standing back to back, but they are indeed joined through the spinal cord and all the way through the pelvis. They had an amazing career as freak show performers, and in the process, I should say that they were born into slavery. They were initially put into freak shows, and they were carted around the country when they were a very, very, very young age. at around 15 months. And then the person that was carting them around the country at their master's behest decided to kidnap them and took them to England, and where he started up his very own, freak show featuring primarily the McCoy twins. And then the master went through the process of going to England, tracking them down, and then bringing them back to the United States and keeping them under his ownership at his plantation in North Carolina, where they continued to perform until the end of the Civil War. And at the end of the Civil War, they started out on their own, and they plied their trade once again in the freak show trade. One difference was that I know it's a long introduction, but one difference was that when they were under the ownership of their master, they had to submit to very intrusive exams on a regular basis by inquisitive doctors, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again throughout their youth. And when they were on their own, they no longer had to submit to these kind of examinations. To make a longer story short, they eventually became really, really big stars. They traveled all around the United States, all around the world, all around Europe, met kings and queens, etc. And they actually ended up buying a lot of land back in North Carolina. And the land that they bought was actually the plantation upon which they had been raised. So they bought that plantation, and their mother and father and the rest of their family lived on that plantation, still own some of that land today in North Carolina. Fascinating story. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to share one of the poems here with you today. So I wanted to create a poem that approximated the image of the McCoy twins. And I got thinking along the idea of a sonnet. And if you can bring the sonnet up right now, Candace, I appreciate it. There you go. Hopefully it's big enough for everybody to see. What you have here is a syncopated sonnet. And I'm just going to read one of these syncopated sonnets because I really just want to go into it a little bit. But if you read down the middle of the sonnet, you'll see the combined voice of Millie and Christine McCoy. If you look on the left side, you'll see Millie's voice, and then you look at the right side, you'll see Christine's voice. And if you start with me, if you just read down the middle, it says, "We're fused in blood and body from one thrum stem, budding twin blooms of Saul. We're a double rose grown from hard labor that made our mother shout, spent with awe. We hymn to pay soft homage born of and beyond the flesh. We are just two women singing truths we can't forget." That would be the sound of the two sisters saying their story together. And on the other side, on the side that's closest to the name Millie, we see Millie's version. If you read just Millie's lines, they read, "We've mended two songs into one dark skin, bleeding soprano into contralto, descended from raw carnage of the South, bursting open our freedom. We sing past rage to the work song's aria. It leaves us soaked in history like our father's sweat from plantation to grave. Lord, here we are, free twin sisters who've hauled our voices far." And if we switch to Christine's side, it reads, "We ride the wake of each other's rhythm, beating our hearts syncopated tempo with a music all our own. With our mouths seeped in the glow of hand-me-down courage, drenched in spiritual acapellas, flowing soul from bone through skin, we pay debts from broken chattel to circus stars. We sing straight from this nation's barbed-wired heart." And If we combine all of those lines together, we end up reading from left all the way to the right, all the way through, like a regular poem. We've mended two songs in the one dark skin. We ride the wake of each other's rhythm, bleeding soprano into contralto, beating heart syncopated tempo. We're fused in blood and body from one thrum stem, budding twin blooms of song. We're a double rose descended from raw carnage of the South, with a music all our own, with our mouths bursting open our freedom. We sing past rage, sheeped in the glow of hand-me-down courage, grown from hard labor that made our mothers shout, spent with awe. We hymn to pay soft homage to the work song's aria. It leaves us drenched in spiritual acapellas, soaked in history like our father's sweat, flowing soul from bone through skin. We pay debts born of and beyond the flesh. We are just two women singing truths we can't forget, from plantation to grave. Lord, here we are, from broken chattel to circus stars, free twin sisters who've heard our voices so far. We sing straight from this nation's barbed wired heart. And there's one last iteration that I would like to read for you, and this iteration starts from the bottom and reads to the top. So if you start with Millie, free twin sisters who've hauled our voices far, we sing straight from this nation's barbed wired heart, from plantation to grave. Lord, here we are, from broken chattel to circus stars, two women singing truths we can't forget, born of and beyond the flesh. We are just soaked in history, like our father's sweat flowing soul from bone through skin. We pay debts to the work song's aria. It leaves us drenched in spiritual acapellas, spent with awe. We hymn to pay soft homage, grown from hard labor that made our mothers shout, bursting open our freedom. We sing past rage, seeped in the glow of hand-me-down courage, descended from raw carnage of the South, with a music all our own. With our mouths budding twin blooms of song, we're a double rose, we're fused in blood and body from one thrum stem, bleeding soprano into contralto, beating our heart's syncopated tempo. We've mended two songs into one dark skin. We ride the wake of each other's rhythm. So what you can do in the poem is you can read it, and there's various other poems like that in the book that you can read in multiple directions. And that's Millie and Christine McCoy. And thank you for allowing me to bring them to you today. And can I get, do I have time to read one more? Yeah, yes. Because I do want to, I would like to, I want to read one more, but this one really is not mine. But you know, I was looking at the title of this gathering, and the idea of gathering people in remembrance, in acknowledgement, and into a certain degree of hope for our current political circumstances. And this poem isn't mine, but it is definitely well, this is Langston Hughes, and he wrote this poem roughly 85 years ago. But it could not be more appropriate than right now. And if you hear the title, I'm sure you will understand why. So I want to say thank you so much, Kelly, for bringing me out to this event. Thank you so much, Dr. Ward. It's an honor to be here with you and share this stage with you. And thank you to the poets who've come out tonight, who shared so many amazing poems. Karisma, Lupe, my man from Detroit. This is Let America Be America Again. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great strong land of love where never kings connive, nor tyrants scheme that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the man, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry, yet today, despite the dream, beaten, yet today. Oh, pioneers. I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years, yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore, and Poland's plain, and England's grassy lea. And torn from black Africa's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed and all the songs we've sung and all the hopes we've held and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again. The land that never has been yet, and yet must be. The land where every man is free. The land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, where sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath. America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again. Peace. Thank you so much.
Really? Oh my gosh. Thank you, Tyehimba Jess. Whoa. Thank you so much. I'm speechless right now. I'm just speechless. I have been asked if there is room for some questions. And Ty, are you willing? And any of the poets still with us? If you have any questions out there for any of the poets, we'll take a few before we sign off. Tyehimba, that was amazing. Justin, that was amazing. Karisma, that was amazing. Jane Spokenword and Lupe, amazing. Thank you all for joining us this evening. The only thing I think that could have been better was we were all able to do this in New Orleans with some gumbo and some good drinks and just have a good time. But thank you. Are there any questions? I see Kelly Stevens Kane. Hey, thank you. Elizabeth Gross is saying thank you. Thank you, Sarah Ray. Thank you. Amazing poems and readings. Ricardo, hey, Ricardo Hernandez, thank you so much. Anybody else? Kyle DeCoste, am I reading that right? Thank you. I have been reading so many screens that my eyes are a little bit tired, but thank you. Any questions before we go? Thank you, Dr. Ward. We appreciate your spirit and your presence here with us. One of the questions, Ty, that people are asking, or at least I've got a couple texts, is how did you do that one poem? People were just amazed at the structure of being able to read a poem multiple ways. Hey, Jane, I see you back on our screen. Thank you again. You were wonderful. So that's one of the questions that I have.
I think that I was just desperate. And I was really thinking about a dialectic happening between historical personas, and thinking about the kind of dialogue that they would have. So I did poems like that in Leadbelly, but in Olio they're more structured and they enter into form. So to put it simply, piece of paper, a pencil, lots of erasers, and a bottle of whiskey. There you go.
Thank you. Candace, can you tell me if there are any more questions for any of our poets for the evening? Okay. Thank you. Anything else that the poets want to say? What's your next project? Where can people find you? Justin, how can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Black Life Mattering on Instagram, BLKLYF Mattering. On Twitter, I just updated it. It's Black in a Pandemic. So you can check me out on those social webs. And I'll also put my link to my book in the comments. You can find it at Glass Poetry Press. Just look up my name.
Thank you. Karisma, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at it's K Price, KAY Price. But if you also type in, my first and last name, you can find me there. Same as Instagram. You can just type in, my first and last name. And I have my website, karismaprice.com.
And Justin, can you remind me of Lupe's handle? Can you grab that for me while I go to Jane? Jane, where can folks find you? You're muted, I think.
Yep. You can find me at janespokenword.com. And thank you, poets. That was just heartfelt all night. Just no words.
Thank you. Thank you, Jane. Tyehimba, let us know where we can find you.
TyehimbaJess.net, I think is my website, but I'm on the Twitter machine. You can find Facebook. You can find me there. So, yeah.
Dr. Ward, you got any handles? You're muted.
You muted, Dr. Ward.
You're muted, Doc.
There you go.
All right. Okay, Kelly, if people want to contact me, they can contact me at my email, which they have to get from you or from Megan.
Okay, thank you. Got it. And Dr. Ward has books also that you can check out and read his. You definitely need his books on your shelf as well. We ask everybody to continue to follow Words and Music Festival. We're on Twitter, Words and Music NOLA, I think. So you can check out everything there. We have another full day tomorrow of events. We'll drop that schedule so that you can check that out for tomorrow. This was just an amazing evening. Thank you all. You can catch me at KHD Poetry. Megan, you can take it away for us if there's any other announcements that I forgot to say.
So, first of all, thank you. I've been writing in the private chat among us people backstage, tears in my bourbon, because this, like the other late night lit sessions, was incredibly cathartic, and I feel like exactly what folks needed to get out, because we've all been living in such nutty times right now. I'm also really excited that Kelly mentioned that John Warner Smith, the current Louisiana Poet Laureate, was also a Cave Canem Fellow, because he is actually closing out tomorrow night. An evening with John Warner Smith, 6:30 p.m. Mark your calendars. Go to wordsandmusic.org and click on that schedule for a full day. And because I'm feeling so inspired by Karisma, by Tyehimba, by Kelly, by John Warner Smith tomorrow, I'm going to leave that pledge up until midnight. Anything received between now and midnight will be equally split between Words and Music and Cave Canem. As you know, Words and Music supports One Book, One New Orleans all year round, and we get books into the hands of folks who need them most. Folks who are studying for their high set, folks who are learning to read for the first time as adults, folks who are incarcerated. And then we create community programming inspired by books that really brings people together. So not only will your donation support the Writing Fellowship at Cave Canem, they'll support local New Orleans literacy initiatives. So get those in before midnight, anything before midnight. And you can do that by hitting that link in the comments section in both Facebook and YouTube. Even if we're not live, that link is. You do not have to miss out. You can also text WAM20, WAM for Words and Music, to 44321. You can also go to PayPal and go to wordsandmusicnola@gmail.com and get us there. Thank you so much. We will take $1. We will take 1,000. We will take anything in between. No matter what you give, we know that our pandemic has hit us all hard, and we're really grateful that you've chosen to give what you have to us. So thank you to all of y'all who have donated already. Thank you to our writers. I'm so humbled that you chose to spend an evening with us. Thank you. And the poet Mendez on Twitter. There's Lupe. Find Lupe there. I will see you all bright and early tomorrow morning. We're kicking off tomorrow morning with a poetry workshop for youth with Cortez Harris. And some of the highlights include Mystery in Motion, African American Spirituality and Mardi Gras, Heartbreak or Research, Poets on the Writing Process, and many, many, many more. I will see you tomorrow morning when I'll be wearing a different outfit but the same smile. Talk to you later. Bye.